this is the most tolerable one of the series, huh? This is the most tolerable one. Really? 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 If this is what we're considering tolerable, I can't even. I seriously can't even. I can't even. I guess we'll just bypass anything. If anything has a cool action scene, I guess we'll bypass anything now. Right? Hey, what's up, you guys? Film fan 05, I9. Here again. Today we're going to review Eclipse. So, Eclipse stars Robert Pattinson, Kristen Stewart, Taylor Lautner. What the film's about? It's about, when a bunch of newborn vampires, along with Victoria from the last two movies, they're coming to, destroy whatever, kill, the usual vampire things, and now Edward and Jacob, the vampires and the werewolves, are now forced to team up with each other to take on these newborns. Okay, at this point, do you really think I would have any expectations going into this, or expect it to be any better? Okay. And interesting enough, this was the only one of the Twilight movies that was released during the summer, actually. All of them were released in November. I believe this was the only one that was released in the summer. And, yeah, it's like, oh man, I don't know. Like I said, people consider this to be the most tolerable one in the series. Like, this one to be the one that you can actually watch. How? This is literally the same crap as it was in the first two movies. Literally, it is. With just a couple of action scenes thrown into it. That's all it is. Okay? Literally, that's all it is. It's literally the same crap as the first two movies, just with a couple of action scenes thrown in. So, let's get into the negatives with this movie, because, no. Really, at this point, do you think there's going to be No. So, let's just get into the negatives with this movie, because there's a lot that's wrong with this movie. First being the acting. The acting's terrible. At this point, you should know that the acting is terrible. And may I remind you, because like I said, I'm going to remind you in each of these reviews, the actors regret these movies. They know they're bad. They know they're terrible. They regret them. They all regret these movies. They know they're terrible, and they know they're bad. Okay, now we got that out of the way. Let's talk about the acting, because it's pretty bad. Robert Pattinson doing his usual, pouty face, just wooden, shallow acting, as usual in this movie. Like, he doesn't improve at all. He really just is shallow, like, being really, really shallow. That's what I can really describe it. Just him being shallow. And, like I said, this character is not likable whatsoever. None of these characters, actually, because they're nothing more than just shallow characters. And that's all Robert Pattinson is in this movie. Just a shallow and just wooden character. And his acting is so awful. It's so bad. It's so terrible. It really is. His acting is awful in this movie. And then, of course, Kristen Stewart. These are good actors, folks. Well, 2 out of the 3 main leads are good actors, but she's just annoying. She's just annoying. That's all she is. All she does is whine, complain about everything. She's probably the worst damsel in distress of all time. She's just awful. All she does is whine, complain, whine, complain, whine, complain, whine, complain. That's all she does. And I'm just like, shut up. Like, seriously. Would you please shut up? Like, seriously. I just at times, I was just like, please, just shut up. Shut up. Shut up! Like, seriously, at times I was like that. Because she just wouldn't shut up. She was so annoying. She's such a terrible character. And then, probably my least favorite character of any of these three characters, Daryl Lautner as Jacob. Oh god. He is bad. He's bad. He's just as annoying as he was in the second movie. Well, he's just as annoying as he was in the second film. Oh man, it's so bad. He is so bad. Taylor Lautner, like I said, he's not a good actor. He can't act to save his life. He's terrible. He is awful. He's complete and utter gutter trash. Okay? He's awful. He's garbage. Okay? He's terrible. Alright? He is awful in this movie. He does such a terrible job as this character. He is awful. Okay? And then the rest of the acting in this movie is so bad. Like, the one dude, like the one dude who's like the main villain of this movie, he's, oh my goodness, his overacting. If you thought the villains in the first movie were bad, oh my, you've seen nothing, because this was bad. Like, he'll, like, deliver, like, a line. He was like, what did I say about keeping a low profile? Like, the way he delivers that line is so bad that it is literally laughable. Like, the way he delivers that line. His overacting is so bad in this movie that you're just like, what? It is so bad. It's so terrible. You're wondering why. Just why. Just why. That's the main thing you wonder. Bryce Dallas Howard. Okay, so I don't know really the reason why they had to replace the last girl that played Victoria. I don't know the reason why they had to replace her. But Bryce Dallas Howard, who's a really good actress, replaced her in this movie, and she really doesn't do much, to be honest. Like, she really doesn't do much in this movie. Like, seriously, in the time she's on screen, she really isn't that good. Like, she isn't bad. She definitely isn't the worst actor in this movie. But she really wasn't that good, and she really doesn't have that much to do. The romance. It's still bad. It's still awful. This love triangle is just simply the worst. Like, it is simply the worst, this love triangle. Like, seriously, it is simply the worst. It is terrible. Like, seriously, and these guys, they have no chemistry. I don't know how many times I have to repeat this, but they have no chemistry. They have no chemistry whatsoever with each other. Any of these three characters. None of them whatsoever. And they're all terrible. Seriously, there was this one scene in the movie where, like, you know, I don't even care. I'm going to talk about it. It's like Jacob forcibly kisses Bella, and, like, Edward gets all mad and stuff. It's so bad. Like, the dialogue and how that scene is played out is so bad. Like, literally, it's so bad and laughable.
Oh my god.
Because, like I said, these two are fighting over the most shallow girl you could possibly ever meet. It's so bad, and they're, like, fighting over her, like, I want to be with her, no, I want to be with her. Like, it's so terrible. It's so bad. It is complete and utter garbage. It's awful. Like, seriously, it's so bad to watch on screen. You're just like, how? Who thought this was good? Who thought this was good? Ladies and gentlemen, the like 14th highest grossing film franchise of all time. Outgrossing movie franchises like Indiana Jones, Toy Story, The Matrix, Superman, and more you can name. I'm not kidding. This is the one, folks. This was the franchise that outgrew all those amazing franchises. This is the one right here, folks. The romance is just awful. It is terrible. It really is. It's so bad. The action sequences, like, there's a couple of action scenes that they throw in there just for, just to get the guys excited, right? So they could not suffer through this pain as much as everybody else, right? No, they're bad. They're so poorly filmed. Like, seriously, they're not only are they underwhelming, they're just so poorly filmed. They really are. Like, there's one where they're having, like, a training sequence or whatever. It's basically what that is. And it's so poorly filmed. And, like, the running effect that they have to do because, the vampires are really fast. Okay, it wasn't good in the first two movies. Like, it didn't look good. I wouldn't say it looked awful, but it didn't look good in the first two movies. However, in this third one, it looks completely terrible. Like, whenever they're running, it just looks, oh my goodness. Like, your eyeballs are going to melt because of how awful it looks. And with the visual effects, with the werewolves again, looks like something out of a PlayStation 2 video game. And these guys have such a high budget. Think about it. They have such a high budget for these movies. You think they would get decent visual effects at least. No, they can't even get that. But yeah, the effects look terrible. And back to the action scenes, man. They're just so poorly filmed. It's so poorly edited. It's just shaky cam nonsense. That's all it really is. Nothing more, nothing less. The writing. The writing. Yeah, the writing, the writing, because, apparently people thought this was good writing. Apparently thought this was good, like, hey, this is good writing. I don't know how. How did you think this was good writing? Like, how did this get passed? Like, who thought, like, this was good? Who legitimately, in their right mind, thought, hey, this is good writing, let's keep it. The dialogue is so bad in this movie, it's terrible. Like, seriously. It's so bad. It's so bad. Like, literally, the dialogue that these characters say are absolute trash. It's terrible. Like, really, it is so bad. This dialogue, it's so bad. The directing. Now, the same guy who directed this movie, directed a movie called Hard Candy, which was a really good psychological thriller movie. I don't know what he was doing with this one. His directing is not that good, really. It's not well shot. The cinematography isn't even that good. It's such a poorly filmed movie. Like, seriously, the directing is not that good with this film. And the movie is so boring. Oh my goodness. Now I can't say like I did with the first two. It's just a bunch of nothing because some stuff actually does happen in this movie. But still, it still wasn't good though. But it was still pretty boring, this movie. It really was. Like, the characters are still uninteresting. The storyline is still very uninteresting. So, it's still a boring movie. But yeah, it's still boring. Like, seriously, it's 2 hours and 4 minutes of boringness, I guess you could say, because the characters are uninteresting, the storyline's uninteresting, the romance is uninteresting, and the action sequences are uninteresting. So, obviously, you're not going to be interested in the movie if all those things are uninteresting. So, yeah. So, overall, Eclipse, it's awful. I don't get how people say this is the most passable one out of any of them. This is still terrible. It's the same old crap as the first two, but with just some action scenes thrown into it. That's all it is. And, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're darn right. Eclipse is getting an F. It's an F, 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 and E, F, 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 F. Okay? It's terrible. It's an awful movie. It's so bad. It's terrible. Like, I don't get how people say this is the most passable one. I don't get it. It's the same old crap as the first two, and nothing's changed, except with some thrown-in action scenes. That's it. That's it. So, yeah, Eclipse definitely deserves an F. So, what did you think of Eclipse? Leave in the comment section below. And I'm FilmFan0599, and tomorrow I talk about what I think is the worst one in the franchise, Breaking Dawn Part 1. Peace.